Howdy guys, it's Joe here today talking about 5 ways that you might be throwing in competitive, probably that you didn't actually think you were doing way too much. I feel like there's a lot of things that people just kind of do in Overwatch without really batting an eye that might be actually losing you a lot of games, and today I'm hoping to point some of those out and, if you have any of these problems, fix them for yourself. Otherwise, just kind of see and I guess confirm your opinion that other people are doing these problems. With that said, let's just get straight off to the first problem. And the first one that I feel like a lot of people throw games in Overwatch is by not switching off DPS. Now, I'm pretty much always the first to switch off DPS. If I insta-lock that Reaper, I'll switch to Lucio, I'll switch to Winston, whatever. And my games can go off fine from there. Our team comp might be a little bit weird, but, it can work okay. However, if you get into a game, there are 4 insta-lock DPS, or maybe even 5 that I've seen sometimes, and you aren't the person that switches, just like everybody else, you're throwing that game. I know that everyone that plays competitive feels like they should be the one that is the one that can carry. They should be the one that should be able to pick whoever they want to. And while I wish that could be true, and while I wish that there was a pre-made team feature where you could actually pick your role similar to League of Legends, it's not going to really happen, and it's not actually happening right now. So if you're not being the one that's fixing the team comp, you're just part of the problem that's ruining the team comp. I'm sorry to say it. I wish that wasn't the case. I wish you could play whoever you wanted to, whenever you wanted to. That's just not really the case. And if you want to start winning more, you're going to have to switch off that 4th DPS and play whoever else. Now to supports, which I often feel like they don't have to change up at all. They're already blessing the world for playing that support role, and I do appreciate it a lot. It's hard to get one of those guys sometimes. I'm going to tell you guys to stop staying away so far from your teammates all the time in dive comp. Now, while staying far away from your teammates did work quite often when you were playing in the old traditional comp with a Reinhardt, with a Roadhog, with other characters like that, I feel like as it is right now, you shouldn't always be all the way back away from your teammates. Mainly for this one reason. If Winston, Genji, and Tracer jump onto the backline, you as the supports, what are you gonna do? There's pretty much nothing. You are doomed. You are going to lose your team, the team fight. Well, if you're up, at a medium distance or somewhat close to your teammates, if the opponents dive onto you, they're going to also have to be diving onto your DPS, diving onto your tanks, diving onto your whole team. And it'll be a much more equal team fight. Your supports won't just instantly be roasted, which often does happen. Just kind of think about that in this current meta. I feel like a lot of people don't really realize that if you are so far back and you're getting picked off again and again and again, it's not your teammates' fault for, not protecting you. It's more of your fault for staying too far away to be protected. As well with that, do stay at a close range and call out in team chat when people are flanking to actually get some help, as a lot of the times people just don't notice when someone is flanking, and again, if you're not actually telling people that you need help, you can't really expect to get help. And another different thing that I feel like a lot of people do that throws in competitive is diving in solo by themselves. Now this could be really anybody. This could be Tracer, this could be Lucio's, which sometimes do this could be Winston's, it could be whatever. But a lot of the times, players just don't really communicate with their team, and they just kind of jump in way before anybody else is ready. And then they proceed to die. Sometimes they can do okay, maybe get a kill, but most of the time, jump in, and they're flat out of there. And we can easily see the problem with this. If you're jumping in, dying by yourself, and then your team has to go in with a 5v6, they're probably going to lose. And if they don't lose, you've just been lucky at that match. Otherwise, if they actually wait, like which they should be doing, first off, they're probably going to give the enemies that are defending a lot more ult charge, and second off, of course, you're going to have to lose a lot of time if you're on the offense, 30 or 40 seconds just to wait for you to be back there, to be able to engage and to go in from there. I feel like overall you should just try to time your dives a little bit better, call out to your team when you are going in, and especially if you're someone like Tracer, wait until your tanks go in. Don't go in by yourself, as unless you're an MLG pro, it's probably not going to work. Now, another thing that's kind of similar to this, it's a little bit different but very similar, is actually trying to get picks while your team is down a teammate. I don't know why people always do this, but I feel like it does happen quite often. Again, if you're Tracer or you're Flanker, a lot of the times I will see people, when we're down a man, especially on defense, they're like, the only way to make up for this person that we're down is to get a pick on the enemy team, which I guess is logical, that does make sense. However, you have to think about it like this. If you're trying to get a pick while you're down a man, you're down one person that can support you. So your chance of getting a pick is lower than usual. As well with that, if you get picked, it's going to be a 4v6, which is going to suck even more for your team. And especially on defense, I can't really see a situation where this is actually worth the chance of losing another teammate and worth the ability to have another teammate on your team to maybe clutch out that 5v6. I know a lot of people do it, and a lot of people have the dream to be able to do it, and unless, I guess, you're Hanzo or Widow, who can get picks just by staying back and protected, I wouldn't say go for this. Just play the safer route and help your teammates out that way. Don't throw the game by just going in again and again and really trickling for your team. And finally, the biggest mistake, the biggest way that people throw, in my opinion, is knowing how to only play one role. And that's not only for DPS, that's for DPS, tanks, and supports. Because when you're forced to play another role, or when you just need maybe to have triple DPS one game, or maybe you just have to have triple tank one game, or maybe you just have to have, 2 DPS, 2 supports, and 2 tanks, and you had to fill in a certain role, if you don't know how to play at least one character from every role, maybe not even your best, not even great, but at least somewhat, you are hard throwing that game, let's be real. Let's say again, if you have 2 DPS in there, but you only play DPS, or let's say again, if you have 2 supports in there, this happens quite a bit. You have a Lucio, you have a Mercy, and you're a Lucio main, and you don't know how to play anybody else, because you probably shouldn't have to play anyone else. You're a support main, you should be able to play support. If that happens, and you have to play another role and you don't know how to play anything else, your team's probably going to lose that match because you don't know how to play other roles. What I'd say overall to do is to, if you want to, continue solo maining a character essentially and just keep playing your one favorite role the most, is to learn one character from each other role and probably learn some of the easiest characters in the other roles. I'd say D.Va, while it does have a decent skill cap, it's pretty easy to pick. Winston isn't way too hard. And then, of course, in DPS, I feel like Reaper, while kind of awkward, is decent. Soldier, if you just play defensively on the high ground and just kind of aim decently, there you go. Those are some characters that you can pick up that if you play, in the most basic way possible, not trying to get any picks, just, playing next to your teammates defensively, can be decent enough to learn and to have as just side roles you can pick up. I'd say overall that, again, if you don't know how to play at least even 2 roles, you're going to throw a lot of games and you're going to really hurt your win rate. While it won't completely tank it, and while, there's going to be a lot of games where you can play heroes that you can win, I feel like this is the #1 way that people do throw their games, and I can't even count the amount of times that I've seen, people only play one role, and we have way too many of them. One of my favorite matches was with 5 support main onlys, and yeah, we did not win that one. But anyways, as always, that is just my own personal opinion. If you have your own opinion, make sure to leave it down in the comment section down below. And tell me what you feel like really throws a lot of games in your Overwatch games. And maybe some ways that your teammates are throwing games. And maybe, just kind of condole with some other people in the comment section down below. And tell your own experiences. As always, guys, thank you all for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. As always, guys, have a wonderful day.